Hey, MLT here. Um, the topic today that I wanted to go over, it's called spiritual parasites. And the reason I found this really necessary to speak about has to do with the fact that there's this thing that's constantly circulating and being perpetuated about no man is good. There's no good among them. Um, and I just wanted to challenge that. And what I have to say, I was having this conversation with a family member, and I understand that it was coming from a place of this person having experienced really horrific traumas that happened when they were a toddler up. So I think this is kind of like a defense for humanity and for them to also see that what they're saying, it's coming out as though it's a reflection of themselves as well. And I don't want people to believe that there's no good in them or that no man is good. That's not even if you're, walking with God and with Christ and a Christian, that's not even biblically accurate to say that. So I feel like this is important to just challenge head on. And I would love your comments and feedback and criticisms and anything else that you have and your questions. All are welcome. Um, but yes, so for this topic of spiritual parasites, the reason we had this was because at the heart of when people say things like that, they want to believe that there's goodness out there, but many of them have seen so much wickedness. So I think the short and quick and fast answer is just to adopt the belief that no man is good. But when you look, even if you can't go to the beginning, you can sit in your own thoughts and contemplate. Before humanity, before me, before you, before any of us, there was ultimate existence. And when ultimate existence created, and in Christianity, in the Bible, it says, day one, he made this, it was good. Day two, he did this, it was good. Day three, he did this, it was good. Okay? Up to day six. Now, everything that God made, he declared it was good. Now, that is a reflection of himself. Now, when we say things like, oh, no man is good, that's not based off of truth. That's based off of a false identity and based off of a narrative and based off of a false self. Because in the true self, you were created from the pure, infinite, holy, perfect innocence of the Maker. So you are from Him, you are of Him. And that means what He is, you are. So your uncreated divine aspect of what is your true essence is good and can only be good because that is of Him and from Him, which is Him. Now, it is true that we do see wickedness in the world since the birth and the fall of humanity, but the origin story of what you truly are, it is good, and God only created good out of His goodness. Now, when people say things like that, that's a reflection of themselves when they say no man is good. And I also believe that that's a false reflection because at the heart of when you're a child, you are innocence and you are purity. And I believe that's the reason why so many people experience such horrific things in their childhood because there are dark energies out there that want to penetrate and allow their false and lesser consciousness to be merged with yours. And once it is, you're like a corrupted version of yourself. Now, when I was having this talk with this person that I love very deeply, I was trying to help them understand that whatever, lack of self-worth that they have, where they feel unworthy, they feel unlovable, they feel rejected, they feel abandoned, they feel denied, they feel betrayed, they feel all of these different things. And all of these sinister shadows and spirits have made their way into their being. They are not that. At the core, they are still that innocent child. And you have to remember that those are spiritual parasites that have entered and weaseled their way into you. So now you think that their thoughts are yours. You think that the way they perceive existence in the world and humanity and creation, um, you think that those are now you. They're not the same thing. And you have to understand you must separate the two. And it feels impossible, especially when those things come in at the time where you're most impressionable and easily influenced, when you are a child, which is a very sinister and demonic strategy. It's a very clever strategy, a very intelligent strategy to go after and target the most innocent, the children, the little ones, before they ever reach adulthood. You can corrupt them at their infancy, then they can get what they want out of you later on in life, which is to live through you. So it's important that we delineate, that we differentiate, and we separate this. They're feeding off of you. They're feeding off of me. They're feeding off of us. We have to become aware that these spiritual parasites are there, and that as much as it hurts to rip them off and rip them out, or make them pass out of our being, they have to leave. If you're ever going to see yourself clearly, if you're ever going to see the love of your Father clearly, your creator, your maker, if you're ever going to see humanity clearly. All of humanity has been infected by spiritual parasites, but they are not their parasites. No matter what they do, what they say, how they treat others, and we have to be able to distinguish the two. So in defense of God and his creation, yes, it was good, and it is still good. But we have to remember our divine aspect, our uncreated aspect, the pure aspect that resides inside of us, and not lean toward what society, what experience, what time, what culture, all of these things have molded us into. My name might be Melinda here, but had I been born to different parents in a different country, in a different culture, with different experiences, this same being would have been something very different. I still would have had my uncreated divine aspect, that reflection, that image of God in me, which would have been my unique personality, my unique talents and gifts and traits that are the expression that only I could fulfill as this part. That would still be there, but it definitely would have been affected and hindered, could have been discouraged or encouraged, but it would look differently if I had come from a different place. So all of our concepts of what we think is right, what we think is wrong, what we think is good, what we think is evil, it's very relative to our experiences. But we have to understand there is an absolute truth, and there are absolute lies. And you have to use that gut feeling, that spirit of discernment that's in you, that just inherently knows when it's in alignment and when it's not. And stop seeing people as just their false identity or their false self. That is there, that is true. But you cannot overlook the good self, the true self that exists in you, that is there simultaneously with the unfortunate bad self. or lesser self. Our duty in this life is to continually overcome the lesser self by adopting the perfect nature of the Father and by ridding ourselves of the false ego, of the pride that's blocking the true light from entering in and from our true light from um, being expressed outward. So, with that said, I just wanted to go over that, and hopefully, this will help somebody see that you are not your thoughts, you are not your mistakes, just as somebody else is not their thoughts and their mistakes and their actions. At the root of you, it's much deeper. At the core of you, you are one with ultimate existence, because from ultimate existence you came, and there's only good there. And if you can go back to saying, I refuse to put on a pedestal the things that people have done to me, put on a pedestal the things that people have done to themselves, as though that deserves more focus, and that's more truth than the reality of your actual existence. We've got to realize that there are spiritual parasites that are draining us, and that not only are they taking from us, but they're inserting themselves in, and we have to become aware of this so we can realize they are not me, I am not them. And now that I know that they're here, I'm going to detox. I'm going to take some spiritual anti-parasitic medication. Get it out. And you can only get those types of demonic strongholds out by recognizing the truth that God is love. We were created from love, which means you are love. That's the only truth that exists, and that's the only truth that truly matters. And that's the only truth that will combat the evil and the darkness and the lies that have hurt you and caused you to be lesser than what you actually are. That's caused all of us to be lesser than what we actually are. So, with that said, many blessings, much love, and God bless.